If you're deciding between a traditional and a Roth IRA, choose Roth. I've consumed about 100 articles and videos on this topic, so you don't have to, and there's 4 major reasons why you want to choose Roth over traditional, and the last one is crazy and very surprising. Now let's be very clear. Either a Roth or a traditional is a great choice. If you don't have one, you should set one up. Both get you savings for retirement, both get you free money from the government, and both are more effective the earlier you do them. So just choose one and do it. But choose Roth, and here's why. Reason number 1, Roth gives you flexibility in early withdrawals. Because IRAs are retirement accounts, you get penalized about 10% by the government for taking money out early before you retire, before 59.5 years old. But with a Roth, you can take out your contributions at any time with no taxes and no penalties. So if you put $10,000 in and it grew to $15,000, you can take out $10,000 whenever you'd like. Now, it's not a good idea because that raises your savings, but you can do it because sometimes life happens. Reason number 2, Roths have fewer restrictions for retirees. Traditional IRA accounts require you to start taking out money called disbursements at 72 years old. If you don't want to, let's say because you're working in retirement or you have plenty of money, you still have to take them out. With a Roth, you don't have to take out any disbursements if you don't want to. This can be useful because let's say you're working or you have plenty of money or you're saving more during retirement, you don't have to take out money if you don't want to. And money in a Roth account can be given to your heirs tax-free, so it's useful for your estate planning. Although let's be honest, if you're talking about estate planning, you're probably paying someone more than you're paying me to get this advice. But for everyone, the flexibility of a Roth is good. You don't have to take money out if you don't want to. Reason number 3, if you have a 401k, you already have a traditional tax account. Money in a 401k is pre-tax, meaning you don't pay taxes on it going in, you pay taxes on it going out. So you should choose a Roth to get tax diversification. Traditional 401ks are the most common type of retirement account. So even if you don't have one right now, you might get one in the future. So it's good to choose Roth to get that diversification, a little bit of balance. And here we have reason number 4, the biggest one by far. But before we talk about that, let's actually talk about what the common advice on the internet is. The most common piece of advice when it comes to choosing a Roth or traditional IRA is, if you think you're going to be in a lower tax bracket in the future, choose traditional. If you think you're going to be in higher, choose Roth. Now, I dislike this advice a lot because to me, it kind of feels like you're trying to predict the future. There are so many factors that influence what tax bracket you're going to be in the future. Will the government raise taxes? Are you going to move to a state with higher or lower taxes? Is your income going to continue the same or change? Are you going to buy a business? Are you going to sell a business? With so many factors outside of your control, I just feel like that common advice doesn't work. So I read every single article and every single video on the front page of Google trying to see what the big players in the industry recommend. A lot of them gave no recommendation. A lot said predict the future. A few said split the difference. And then there's a few like Fidelity, NerdWallet, Dave Ramsey, and myself that say choose Roth for this reason alone. When you choose a Roth, you're going to have much more money to actually spend in retirement than you would choose a traditional. Let me explain why. Unless you're an extremely disciplined saver, you're gonna have more money to spend in retirement using a Roth IRA. Here's an example. Let's pull it up on the old trusty computer. Let's say you make $60,000 a year. Let's imagine a 20% tax bracket to make it easy on the math. And let's say you invest the max you could in an IRA, so $6,000 a year. Let's say you choose a Roth IRA. So in this year, you make $60,000, you'd pay 20% of that, $12,000 in taxes. And let's assume your money doesn't grow at all and you don't invest anything else. That's never gonna happen, but makes the math easy. When you retire, you take that $6,000 out and you don't pay taxes on it. Now you would have paid 20% of $6,000 or $1,200 in taxes if you'd done a normal investment account or a traditional IRA. But because you chose a Roth IRA, you don't pay any taxes taking the money out. That $1,200 is free money from Uncle Sam. Thank you, Uncle Sam. Now let's run the numbers using a traditional IRA. Once again, you're making $60,000 a year, 20% tax bracket. Now without investing, you would pay 20% of $60,000 or $12,000 in tax. But because you invested in a traditional IRA, that means you can deduct the amount you invested from your income. So $60,000 minus $6,000 equals $54,000. 20% of $54,000 is $10,800 in taxes. Once again, $1,200 for free money from Uncle Sam. Now we use the same simple formula, no investment, no growth. So when you retire, you have $6,000 in your retirement account, you take it out, you're in the 20% tax bracket, and you pay tax on it. 20% of $6,000 is $1,200, so you have $4,800 to spend. Now you might be saying, what happened to that $1,200? What's the difference between the Roth and the traditional? The difference is because using traditional, you forgot to save that free money and you already spent it. What most people forget is they just got $1,200 free money. They spend it and then they don't invest it. With a Roth IRA, since your tax break, your free money doesn't come until retirement, you're not tempted to spend it because you can't. Now you might say, wait a minute, I know the difference between $1 a day and $1 in 10 years or 30 years. $1 a day is worth more. I should just take that difference and invest it in a different account. And that's true, but you won't. because life is hard, math is hard, and taxes are really hard. To invest that difference, you'd have to calculate how much you would have paid without investing, how much you paid with investing, and then save the difference. Most people hate doing their taxes once, much less 2 times. You're probably just not going to do it. For these 4 reasons, particularly the last one, I would recommend everyone choose a Roth. If you don't have one set up today, you can do it. I have a video linked in the description that tells you how to do it. You can set one up in Wealthfront in like a few minutes. If you learned some, or if you want to get more information on how to earn and invest money in the future, please subscribe. I'm trying to beat my brother to 100 subscribers, so it would really help me out. Thanks for watching. By the way, you like my mic stand? I promise this will get better in the future.